All right, welcome. This is Genesee County Compassion Club Show. I'm your host, Jeremy, back in the studio at allpointstv.com. I got John with me in the studio making it happen. How's it going, sir?
Okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I hear like a clicking. Do you hear any clicking going on here? Okay.
No clicking.
Sounds good now then. All right.
we're okay.
It cleared up. Sounds like it cleared up.
Yeah. All right, we're good to go. Cool. We'll get you guys up to speed with what's been happening in Michigan's cannabis scene. Got some few things to talk about today. I want to let you guys know about the events that we're having down at the Genesee County Compassion Club and what has been going on in the past. So let's get started. It's the 25th of September. We are now into autumn. It's still nice and warm outside. Thankful for that. I know a lot of you outdoor growers are also thankful for this warm air that we're getting. It's a very nice blessing. Help the crops finish up strong. Quality, good stuff, and obviously humidity right now. That's the big thing. So watch out for bud mold, rot, powdery mildew, all that stuff. But anyways, let's get this thing going. We got a lot of stuff to talk about and move on here. Last weekend we had our Adopt a Highway at the G3C out on M13. Thank you very much for all of you volunteers who showed up and made that happen. Thank you very much. Definitely appreciate it. It was the last cleanup of the year. Third time we've done it this year, and M13, at least in our section, is looking pretty sweet. So thanks to you guys. I really appreciate you doing that and being a part of it. Also, we've got, of course, Soup Kitchen coming up. We just had Soup Kitchen, I believe it was last week on Tuesday, and we'll have it coming up again here on the, which I believe is the 15th of October. So Tuesday afternoon in the lunchtime, that's when we'll be serving. This the day after Columbus Day next month, but got that going on. Thank you very much for everybody who shows up and helps out on that. And other events that we've got going on, I definitely want to make mention of in the future here is our Trunk or Treat that's coming up on Sunday, the 27th. So you guys want to plan for that. It'll be in the parking lot. It's open to the public. And we're looking to make it a big event this year. Hopefully get a lot of kids out there, let them have a good time, fill them up on some sweets. And it's an opportunity for you to decorate your car, opportunity for the club to reach out and show them that we're normal people. But this is just a lot of fun too. So definitely mark your calendars for the 27th of October. And then of course on Halloween, the club's gonna have a kick butt party. No extra charge to come in on that day. All you gotta do is be a member, but it's definitely gonna be the day that you wanna show up. It is a Thursday. We'll be doing costume contests and all kinds of door prizes and fun stuff like that. You're definitely gonna wanna make it down to the club on Halloween. So mark your calendars for that. Let's see, what else we got going on here? Trying to see. Oh yeah, there's a big event coming up here. Not this weekend, but next. I'll pull it up here. It is out at the Auto City Speedway. And let me pull this up here. Of course, we're talking about George's Caregivers Cup. And I'm trying to pull it up here so that I can get you the actual name for it. But it was pretty cool. I got to hear our buddy George talking with Johnny Burke this morning on the radio about the Cup event that's coming up here, which is, October 6th and 7th, I do believe. It's all weekend long. And of course, this is, I think it's called the Caregivers Cup. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but at any rate, this is a cannabis event that's planned out at the Auto City Speedway, October 6th and 7th. Our good buddy George is putting it on and doing a great job. I heard there's going to be like over 15 different bands they're going to be playing. There's prizes and games going on. Of course, there's going to be vendors. And I did hear that the first 420 people through the door at this event are getting a prize, along with just for showing up. Tickets are only $30 for the entire weekend, so it's pretty good deal, especially when you compare to some of these other events that are going on. And this is for the people, by the people. So it's not some big name corporate propaganda BS. This is us getting down as a community, Michigan caregivers and patients making it happen. The event is open to the public. If you're 18 to 21, you do need to have your medical card. 21 and over, just have to be an adult. That's it. It's open to the public. But they're welcoming people from everywhere to show up to this event. So get out there, have a good time. Good luck to all the vendors. Good luck to the event. I think it's going to be a good one. Should be beautiful weather. It's usually nice around that time of year. But yeah, October 6th and 7th out at Auto City Speedway. Check that out. Gonna be lots of fun. All right. Okay, in the news, let's get to this. We've got a few different things going on here that I wanted to share with you. First thing I'll jump into today that I thought was kind of interesting, and I'm sure a lot of you guys saw this online, but of course I'm talking about Flint and their choosing of their how to handle marijuana. Obviously, Flint is a pretty liberal area. We were one of the first cities in the state to decrim cannabis. We've obviously had a thriving medical community going on for quite some time in Flint and Genesee County throughout. But at any rate, just a couple days ago, the Flint Council decided to basically prohibit all recreational cannabis businesses within city limits by not passing an ordinance. They actually voted 6-0 to approve the first reading of an ordinance that would prohibit businesses from selling marijuana or processing marijuana for recreational purposes within city limits. So pretty obviously it's a unanimous decision that they did to have this reading. It still has to have a second reading, time for public input and whatnot. It's not done deal yet. But at any rate, it looks like that's the way that the city council wants to move forward in handling this. There's a few council members speaking up, feeling that obviously they represent a little bit different of an opinion, but in vote, it was 6-0. So say what you want, but the votes are what actually matters. So at any rate, Flint will continue to be without any particular business spot within city limits that will be offering recreational cannabis products or services or anything really at all to the people of Flint. This is crazy. That is nuts. Meanwhile, we have cities like Muskegon, Kalamazoo, really cities all over the state, Bay City, jumping in on this. And some of them jumped in on it at the medical point, and some are jumping in now at the recreational point. Doesn't matter. The fact is these cities are jumping in wholeheartedly, looking to develop business, looking to develop their economy, looking to take advantage of this new program that we have passed overwhelmingly. The citizens voted. And Flint doesn't seem to feel like they should be doing that, which just really confuses me because obviously Flint is supportive of cannabis. They have been for quite some time. The polls, the numbers, the votes, time after time have showed positive support, overwhelming majority support for cannabis. And then the city council says, okay, that's great, but we're not going to take advantage of any of these opportunities. We're not going to allow any business that has to deal with this within city limits. Now, there is some illusion, or I guess implication, whatever you want to say, where the city is saying, look, we may consider this down the road. The government's still trying to figure it out. The state's still trying to roll out the rules. One of the councilwomen, Monica Galloway, voiced her concerns. In her quotes, it says, the state is still trying to figure it out. Well, the state just rolled their rules out. So I don't know what side of bed Ms. Galloway got out on, but it was the wrong one. She's not awake, needs to go back and re-wake herself up because the state has it figured out. They've rolled out an emergency set of rules. They're rolling out their official rules November 1st and are accepting applications November 1st, or supposed to be anyways. And yet, nobody in Flint's going to have a shot at this because you have to have the ordinance in Flint first. You can't go apply to the state and then come back to Flint and say, hey, I've been pre-approved. I'd like to open a business in your city. You can't do that. Flint has to pass the ordinance first. And they're just simply allowing this to slide by. Go right on by. Bye-bye. That's what they're doing to opportunity right now. Bye-bye. All right? You could look no farther than just to the north in Bay City and see that city municipality has collected over six figures in application fees for medical businesses alone. They haven't even started accepting recreational businesses yet. I mean, stupid is the word that comes to my mind. Flint has an enormous amount of support for cannabis. It has a inventory of available industrial buildings that could be used for this industry that need to be repurposed. It has an enormous base of citizens who are willing and ready to work in this industry. And it has a customer base as well. There's plenty of consumers. So nuts, absolutely nuts. And, when Eric Mays is the only one that's supporting a little bit of common sense, that ought to tell you something. But at any rate, yeah, medical marijuana businesses are not affected by this. They'll still be around. They're still licensed, still open, still doing business. And we're not going to have anything new coming up as of yet. So that's where we're at in the city of Flint. And also, I want to make another point as well. As a part of the recreational marijuana law, there was a section in there that was specifically geared to low-income, disproportionately economically affected social groups, where monies would be funneled into those specific areas, i.e. Flint. And I think Flint was even mentioned as one of the examples of places of where this money was created for. All right, so this is a part of the recreational marijuana law. Basically says they will funnel money to these unfortunate people, whatever you want to say, in through their communities to further their marijuana businesses. So it would result in lower fees for these people, maybe lower taxes, maybe provide assistance for them so that they could actually start a business. We're not going to be a part of that. You can't be a part of it if you don't allow the businesses in the first place. And Flint was one of the cities that was specifically mentioned or thought of when they created this as a part of the law. And we just said, no thanks, we're good. Crazy. All right, so that's it. That's Flint. I don't have much more to say about that, other than, like I said, stupid. All right, anyways, in fact, here, let's move on to a city that is actually getting this right. Muskegon, recreational marijuana, blah, 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 sold in Muskegon starting 2020. New ordinance being discussed by elected officials. Some members say they would not support the ordinance because the city and state does not have a clear plan for criminal records or people with prior marijuana convictions. They're divided, voted 5-2 on an ordinance that would let recreational businesses operate in Muskegon. The proposal closely resembles the city's medical marijuana rules and it has a few other quirks and things that are involved in it. The commission was divided again when it later voted 4-3 on separate zoning amendment that would let recreational marijuana businesses operate in this special medical marijuana district. They've got a spot for that. The mayor and vice mayor and commissioners all voted yes on the ordinance. And there was 2 commissioners that voted no. So there's a little bit of division going on there at the Muskegon City Council. It definitely looks like they are, looking at this seriously, considering it. They're talking about where and how and so on. Specific details that they need to discuss to figure out how they're going to regulate this business, this industry in their city, which is their right to do so. And I applaud them going through that process. But here in Flint, we've decided to just turn a blind eye. Unbelievable. Okay, moving on here. Talk about a different subject. And this one, maybe we'll get some news on this today, folks. This is kind of breaking news, if you will. But today they are supposed to take a vote in the House, and of course I'm talking about the U.S. House of Representatives, on the Marijuana Safe Banking Act. Of course, this is the bill that we've talked about extensively on the program, providing safe banking to marijuana businesses in states where they are officially legally able to do business. This provides basic banking abilities to these companies. It's pretty straightforward. And right now, they're supposed to be taking a vote on this in the House. So hopefully they'll get to it today. Hopefully they'll take a vote. Hopefully it'll pass and move forward into the next stage of becoming law. We've had numerous state attorney generals sign a petition to have this bill be passed. And I can thankfully say that our state attorney general, Dana Nessel, is one of those state attorney generals that signed that petition. So good stuff from our attorney general supporting that banking act. We need to have change. And this is one of those steps in making that change a reality. So I will keep you guys posted if it does get voted on. If it doesn't, whatever. There'll be more updates next week probably on this. I'll be glad to share them with you. But we've been following this now for a year, maybe a year and a half. Watch it get introduced, watch it get bounced around, watch it get furthered up the ladder. And it's moving. It's moving up the ladder. So we'll watch it. All right, a couple other things I want to share with you guys. Illinois. Let's talk about Illinois. They're little neighbors to the south. I wouldn't call them little. There are neighbors to the south. No, I'm not trying to look up Illinois football. Give me just a second. Okay, so this is the story. I'm going to share this with you. It's from Chicago Tribune. Basically stating, Illinois will allow legal commercial marijuana sales next year. It could face widespread shortages related to licensing than other states, at least one industry insider believes. Illinois faces special constraints. It allows far fewer growers and sellers than most other states and has bonuses for minority owners, which Farrington believes is laudable but could encourage fraudulent minority ownership controlled by white investors. Then in turn could lead to lawsuits challenging state cannabis licenses. He says basically it's ripe for fraud. And we do know that Illinois has been fraught with fraud in the past, not just with marijuana, but with a whole lot of other things. Anyways, Farrington, whose publication also hosts a leading annual marijuana business expo, he says because of all that, you'll see a lot of this end up in court. She notes that while other states have hundreds of retail marijuana shops, Illinois will open the legal market with at the most 110 dispensaries, likely leading to shortages before the market reaches equilibrium. The comments from Farrington and Heiser came last week in Chicago before and during a panel discussion amongst industry insiders on the future of the business. Let's see here. Several of the industry leaders on the panel were lawyers themselves. Two of them, John Sullivan and PharmaCann's Jeremy Unruh, are former Cook County prosecutors. They got into the business in part to write applications for licenses in Illinois. If that doesn't sound fishy to you, you're not paying attention. Moving on. They predicted plenty of work for lawyers in the field because it's hyper-regulated. They predicted plenty of... There should be a problem with that. That's partly why these three Chicago companies, PharmaCann, Cresco, and GTI, have grown into national brands, the speakers said, because unlike operators out of the West, they had to comply with complex applications and regulations in Illinois. The panelists estimate it can take roughly $1 million to open a dispensary and between $10 and $20 million to open a large cultivation center. And because cannabis businesses may not legally deduct expenses, the effective tax rate is about 70%. I'm not going to get into all that, but at any rate, that's the nutshell of the article. You can see how they have, and we've reported on this before, but in Illinois, they have constricted the application process down to a very marginal amount, so very small numbers, sort of like an elite application process, if you will, extremely expensive. And basically, if you think Michigan's program application process is bad, Illinois is worse. And so it's going to exacerbate the issues that we see here in Michigan further in Illinois, meaning you're going to have these newly licensed companies struggle to get up and running, going to be overpriced meds when they finally do get to market because of the regulatory cost involved. And at the bottom line is they're going to take longer to get in operation because of the process, meaning that people are going to have the legal ability to possess and to consume, but nowhere to go buy it. So you know what's going to happen. It's going to be a black market explosion, and that's exactly what they're talking about this in this article, and it's what they're predicting. Even the experts are predicting. They know it's going to happen, and clearly, with the process that they've invoked, it's going to happen. So that's what's going on with Illinois. Take that or leave it. It's up to you, but I think it goes to show that this whole regulatory scheme that we've created to sort of make ourselves feel safe on a social level is nothing but a farce to keep big cats in power of their own power grids. I really believe that. If you think regulation keeps you safe, well, more power to you. You put that seatbelt on and you smile and you go down the road and keep living in your bubble. But for the rest of us that are woke, you might realize that all it really is just a popularity contest for people who have money. And if you can afford to play, well, then go ahead. You can play the game, and hopefully you don't go bankrupt doing it. But at any rate, it is a cutthroat game. All right. Speaking of cutthroats, let's talk about Epidiolex. You guys have probably heard me talk about this. It is now available in Great Britain as a CBD medicine. And the interesting thing is that you can't get CBD like we do here in the States. You can't get that over in the UK, but you can get Epidiolex. So this conundrum that we have going on, it's global. It's not just isolated here to the States. But at any rate, yeah, Epidiolex was approved June 25th, 2018 here in the States. Just recently was approved for use over in the, like I said, in the UK. Epidiolex is created or processed by GW Pharmaceuticals, who I believe is also a partner of, or part of Bayer, which is the pharmaceutical giant. But at any rate, yeah, this is a isolated cannabinoid. It is only CBD. It's very similar, I guess, in structure, I would say, to Marinol, which is the exact same thing, except it is a THC cannabinoid isolated molecule being delivered in a pill form. And this is CBD. It's just different cannabinoid. You guys know enough about CBD now for me not to have to get into that. But at any rate, you can now get this in pill form from your pharmacist. And my question is, why would you want to? Why would you want to? I have no idea. All right, so that's about it. The news I want to share with you today. And just encourage you guys, get out there, get to those festivals. It's going to be a lot of fun with these last ones coming up. With the application process that I mentioned coming online, supposedly November 1st for Michigan. That's why you're seeing an abundance of these events, cannabis related in Michigan, is because, well, right now we don't have to have a particular license for that. And after November 1st, you are going to have a specific license, which involves a process and fees and so on and so forth. Not that you're not going to see festivals after November 1st anymore. You certainly will. But there's going to be more involved for the people that put those on. So you're currently seeing them happen right now. We've had an abundance of them throughout the summer, and we're going to continue to have them up until November 1st. But the one that's coming up on the 6th and the 7th out of Auto City Speedway is one that you don't want to miss. Like I said, this is one that is being put on by patients and caregivers, people that have been in this business, most of them since day one. We're talking back since 2009. These are the people that are leading the industry with products and quality of which the professionals are seeking out. All right. When the professionals go, what products should we be producing? They go to events like this to find out. It's because the people that work at these events have been honing and crafting their skills for many years, not just taking anecdotal evidence, but also taking it themselves and finding out firsthand what makes things the best. And they've done that. They've done that homework. They've put in that time. They put in that effort. And it's wonderful that you, the general public, has an ability to go sample those goods. So take advantage of this. Tell your friends about it. Get out there. It's only $30 a ticket. You're probably going to see some of the best meds you're ever going to see. And it may be one of the last times for you to get in touch with a real caregiver or a real patient and not some corporate jockey. So, for what it's worth. And over 15 bands. I know Jimmy Hazeman's going to be out there. He played at the club one time for our 420 party, I think it was. Put on an awesome show. It was great music. I know there's a whole host of other bands as well that I'm forgetting, but that was one that stuck out in my mind. I just thought he was really talented, good music. Jimmy Hazeman, check that out. But anyway, guys, have a fantastic week. I hope it stays nice and warm for at least a few more days. And you guys take care. I love y'all. Get down to the G3C if you haven't been there recently. We got a killer amount of awesome food on the menu. Our wall is finally getting done. It looks fantastic from the club side, and it'll be looking fantastic from the growing concern side soon. So come down and check it out. We definitely encourage you to do so. And thanks for joining me today on the Genesee County Compassion Club show. John, thanks for being with me in the studio. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you check out All Points TV for their other podcasts on YouTube. Check out their channel, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys have a great week. Take care. See ya.